TradeSquare is Australia's first business-to-business marketplace connecting people, brands and organisations into this diverse ecosystem in a unique global landscape. Through pivoting, transforming and reshaping, Australian businesses have an opportunity to create the model for the future that aligns with the world's needs and leveraging the power of a collaborative approach. Through the TradeSquare podcast, we will bring together dynamic, diverse and thought-provoking leaders from business, government and organisations to have conversations to further enable new thinking for the future. Welcome to TradeSquare, Australia's leading B2B marketplace. I'm Catherine van der Meulen, and joining me today is Rachel Whiting, Chief Executive Officer and Director of Regional Development at Regional Development Australia in the Riverina. How are you, Rachel?
Great, thanks, Catherine.
So tell us, who is Rachel Whiting?
Yeah, sure. It's long and complex because there's, I think, like with most women, we do a lot of things. So I'm a professional, I'm a mentor, I'm a leader, I'm a learner, I'm a wife and mother, a manager, a community member, a volunteer, an advocate, a collaborator, and I'm a horse breeder and an equestrian.
It's quite incredible of how many roles we all need to play. So thank you so much for sharing that. And tell us about your call to adventure to joining the RDA in the Riverina.
Well, I've lived regionally most of my life and definitely all of my working life. In a previous role, actually in the Pilbara in far north west WA, I had a role supporting business to grow, and some of that role was the opportunity to work on collaborative projects and to think big, and that was, I really loved that part of the job. So when I moved to the Riverina and this position came up, I thought, well, I have to have it.
Is that certainly the word of 2020, and certainly what's shaping out in 2021 is that really collaborative approach to business? How have you seen kind of collaboration, the journey of collaboration over the last 12 months?
Sure. Well, Australia as a whole, I think, has worked exceptionally well in the collaborative sense, in that we get that idea that sometimes we have to do things for everyone, not just for ourselves. And we're reaping the benefits of that at the moment, I think.
And so thinking also about the last 12 months, how have you seen businesses in the Riverina area evolve and add more value to the world?
Well, we've been significantly resilient through COVID, through obviously the first lockdown affected everyone, and even the restrictions from entering Victoria, or all Victorians enter New South Wales, has affected the Riverina. But the fact that we're mainly an agriculturally based economy, and that we have business owners, just general people living in our region that are constantly coming up with great ideas about how to make the best of what's here, how to value add to what we already produce. I think we're seeing more and more exciting ideas come out of the Riverina, especially in regards to agricultural related manufacturing.
And are there any particular ones in those kind of innovative and really creative ideas that you would be open to sharing?
Well, look, everybody needs to go and have a look at the Witten Malt House. So that's grown out of southern cotton, so a cotton gin. And now they've started this amazing hospitality venue, which is also has that value add manufacturing behind it, growing the grains, and then creating the malt that goes into whiskey making all over the country. it's just incredible. And I love that this business is so integrated in so many parts of our economy and is also really committed to giving our young people a career. So Southern Cotton, we've been very involved in over a number of years with our Grow Our Own program. They offer amazing gap year programs for Year 12 graduates that aren't real sure what they want to do next.
And so we've spoken about businesses and the human beings behind those businesses, about being resilient and dynamic and resourceful. Are there any particular standout individuals in your community that have played a key role in working towards transforming Australian businesses?
So many. I probably wouldn't want to single anyone out in particular, but we have people in our region who are putting their money where their mouth is, actually thinking about investing in these opportunities, taking a risk. And I suppose the message I want to get out there is there are so many opportunities for investment in this region, whether it's from business growth and perhaps hospitality and tourism venues and opportunities, or even with housing. We need, like so many other regional areas around Australia, we need so much more housing, especially rental accommodation, and we need people with the money to assist that to happen.
And so with regionalisation being a key focus across Australia, how will this have both a positive and a negative impact on the region?
Yes, positive in that we need people for our workforce to be able to capitalise on those ideas that I've spoken about, expand those businesses, especially manufacturing related or agricultural related manufacturing businesses are just so well placed for expansion in our region, and their biggest problem is not being able to get enough skilled people. So we just need people so much here at the moment. My mantra is more jobs than people. So that's the positive, that we have that opportunity for people with skills to come to our region to really be part of this growth. The negative I've also mentioned is that we just have to be careful that we're not getting left behind with the infrastructure that's needed to enable that growth. I think that there's some parts of our region that aren't going too badly, for example, with housing, but there's definitely others that are in dire need. And we're really keen just to be involved in helping to facilitate that conversation and trying to work out where the possible solutions are.
And is that infrastructure for growth both physical infrastructure and digital infrastructure?
Well, you know, the digital infrastructure thing comes up all the time. Of course, we've seen the benefits of the black spot program, yet there's still black spots, mobile black spots all over the country still. But I think what's really important to know is that, as far as I'm aware, all of our towns and villages actually have pretty good internet infrastructure. We did a country change story on a woman who moved from Sydney with her job to live in Lockhart and how great the NBN was there. I did some research myself for my master's on Coolaman, and that the towns and villages in Coolaman Shire actually have fantastic internet. And that one of the people involved in my study said he was able to work on his master's from home and do his job from home without any problem at all, and being able to get into the university system, no problem at all. So look, I think this this misunderstanding or myth that regional Australia doesn't have good communications technology needs to be busted. We actually do, and there's always more plans on how to do better in that space, and there's a great business in Wagga too, that's actually going ahead in leaps and bounds in providing local solutions to some of the gaps in telecommunications and internet for individuals.
And so what's a key message that you are super passionate about, that you are advocating and championing through your work at RDA Riverina?
Well, we run a great program called Country Change along with all the councils in our region, and that's all about promoting the livability of the Riverina. And then we have a sister website to that called Jobs Riverina, showcasing the actual job opportunities for people. So that's the main thing that we're pushing, workforce development. How do we get more people here, and showcasing just how great and how diverse our region is. Whatever type of housing you want, whatever type of community you want to live in, I'm pretty sure the Riverina can deliver on it. So we want people to come out and have a look. People are always surprised. They go, wow, we didn't know you had real shopping malls. And yes, and like we were just talking about the internet, and we didn't know you had such great tourism locations, which are fabulous for locals too on weekends, like the Junie Licorice Factory, like Coolaman Cheese, like the Temora Aviation Centre, like so many amazing places to visit and see. Go and check out the amazing vineyards we have right across the region. Griffith and surrounds produces the most grapes for wine, I think, for the entire country. Or maybe for New South Wales, might have to check that fact. But a huge amount of contribution, and some great vineyards out there. And we have amazing cool climate wines up around Tumbarumba. So just a fabulous region. So we encourage people to come and visit, and that's great for tourism, but then to actually consider, well, is this somewhere we could live? And you'd be surprised at the livability of the Riverina.
You touched on the workforce development earlier, and around, I would love to understand more around what is needed to upskill and to reskill the workforce for now and for the future for your agricultural businesses. Obviously, there's lots of businesses that are technologically enabled, more so now than ever. What are those soft and hard skills that people really need to enable that development of the workforce?
So look, we're really keen to encourage, especially our youth, to upskill for industry in the region. But I think we actually do need more people, so we can't do this all internally. So that's a really important point to make. But in relation to that, we need all trades. Absolutely every trade you could imagine we need in the Riverina. We have plumbing companies that can't get enough plumbers. There's not enough builders, full stop, for the development for the future. We need metal manufacturers, welders, if you're a boiler maker, if you're a diesel mechanic. We need all of those type of skills, electricians. And then we need the higher end skills as well. So we need engineers of all sorts. We need all health workers, nurses, doctors. It's really broad. We need chefs and cooks. So we've talked about the amazing hospitality industry and tourism in the region, but that is a negative of COVID, that some of those businesses have struggled to get the skilled workers they need in those businesses. So we actually need those people here. So if you're sitting in Sydney or somewhere else and are out of work, then check out the Riverina.
And so what are some of the ways that you, as a person, actively challenge the status quo in your role?
Yeah, look, I think that's a really good question. I'm really pleased that my workplace allows me to manage my hours to fit with my family. I'm absolutely busy all the time, but if I have something I need to do with the children, then I will do it, and I will get the work done at another time. And I think we need to be embracing of that. And it doesn't mean you can't do your job as well as someone who sits at their desk between 9 and 5. So I really push back at anyone who suggests differently. I think COVID has highlighted that as well. My staff worked from home for most of last year, definitely 9 months of the year, and I had no concerns about their productivity. We all had great online access, which again shows the tech and the communications available in the Riverina. And I have staff in the Western Riverina in Griffith and in Wagga, and living in different locations in both those places. So we travel around the region. It's being flexible as a workplace, and being able to do your job well, I think is important. And yeah, there's proof that it works. So let's push back. Let's consider what can be done regionally as well. We've been involved in Regional Australia Institute's Regional Activators Alliance, and I love that they're pushing large business to consider, well, do your employees all need to be in capital cities? So that's another way. I challenge the status quo. Does your Melbourne-based business need that executive to live in Melbourne? Why can't they live here? They can get to Melbourne. You can fly to Melbourne and back in a day. Same with Sydney. But do they have to be there every day? I don't think so. So, they're some of the themes I'm thinking about at the moment in regards to workforce and challenging that status quo.
And so this month, TradeSquare has really been focused on celebrating women for International Women's Day and around the theme of choosing to challenge. How do you choose to challenge?
Well, a few years back, when I was running the Pilbara Women's Network in WA, we had Dr. Terence Fitzsimmons come and speak. He's an expert on gender diversity, and he said then that if we continued on the current pathway of women in CEO and board roles, the percentage of participation would actually decrease. That's where he was seeing the trajectory, that the curve was actually going the wrong way. So I choose to challenge anyone that says we shouldn't be thinking about quotas. I think everyone wants to believe that people on boards or representing us in politics should have the skills and qualifications to be there, but does using quotas actually mean that they don't have those skills and qualifications? So I would choose to challenge on that. And I would really challenge people to do some research, actually look into the facts before they form an opinion on all of this gender information that is out there in the media at the moment.
So many pieces of wonderful advice. So thank you so much, Rachel, for sharing your world and also opening our eyes to the world of the Riverina and what it will take for Australia to really consider the regions across
Thanks,
Australia.
Catherine.
For more information on TradeSquare, head to www.tradesquare.com.au and support Australian business economic recovery and growth with a collaborative approach to the future of business.